Welcome back to the channel, RacerX here, and today I thought I would do a fun little video. This is actually a video I've thought about filming for a while now. Well, today, it's nice outside, I figured, why not? Today I will cover my 5 biggest regrets on my channel, mistakes that I have made. I will be open and honest with you guys about things I wish I had done a little different or things I just kind of blatantly screwed up. So today should be a fun one. If you guys are brand new to my channel, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, and it costs nothing. That said, off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
So for my first regret that I want to mention to you guys, it has to do with when I first started my channel. I already had my Hellcat. I had already done the Bravo package to my Hellcat to make it 1,000 horsepower. I kind of wish I had been able to show you guys that entire process of building that car up, although I did talk about it at length. But that actually isn't my regret here. One of my other regrets is that I had a Ram Rebel truck at the time, which was a great truck. It was really nice. I enjoyed the truck, had some really cool stuff done to it, and it was more or less just a daily type vehicle. And I really wish that I had gotten some content on that when my channel first started, because I feel like there's a big audience out there that I kind of missed out on. There's a whole humongous truck crew out there that I feel like would have appreciated some content on that Ram Rebel. I feel like it would have been really good for the channel, and I just missed the ball completely. Ram Rebel content would have been really neat, and especially during that time back in like 2018, there weren't a lot of people doing a whole lot of Ram Rebel content. So that was definitely a miss on my part. I wish I'd done that a little different. As for my second big regret, many of you are well aware of the story. If you follow my channel pretty closely, back in 2018, that was when I started my channel, I was in line to get a Dodge Demon, the original Demon when it came out. And I was so excited, I thought that's how I was going to start out my channel. It didn't end up working out. The dealership completely hosed me on the deal. I had already had the money borrowed. I mean, many of you guys are well aware of the story. It was a bad deal altogether. Of course, I went on to still make a lot of Hellcat content, but a lot of people don't know that during that time period, I also had an opportunity to buy a Gen 5 Viper. It was a 2015 car, basically mint condition, and it was yellow. That was the big reason that I didn't buy it. But it was a mint condition Gen 5 Viper, a 2015. I think it had like 15,000 miles on it or something. It was a really nice car. And get this, I could have bought that car for like $73,000. Now, this was right before these cars blew up in value. Now, if you go try and buy a Gen 5 Viper, even though they stopped making them in 2017, their value just skyrocketed. It's like 130, 140 grand minimum if you want one of those cars. And if you want a really low mileage one that's like really awesome, they climb up into like the $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 range. They are unbelievably expensive. That's why I don't have a Gen 5 Viper for the channel. They just went nuts. And think about it, I could have bought a 2015 mint condition car for like $73,000. And I passed on it because the car was yellow. I could have wrapped the stupid thing. I could have done so many other things. I think Viper content would have been great for the channel. I really would have enjoyed it. I've always wanted a Viper. Now it's to the point where I can't afford them. And it was just a massive miss from a content perspective. And of course, I could have sold the car for at least double probably what I was going to pay for it. Hindsight's 2020. What can you do? As for my third big regret, this is one that really affected me more personally than it did my channel, but I feel like it does bear mentioning because it still kind of just aggravates me to no end. Haven't really talked about it much, but many of you that have followed my channel for quite some time are well aware that I had a 1,000+ horsepower Hellcat Charger named Excessive. That car was incredibly fast, incredibly consistent. It was just an amazing car, and I really didn't have many problems with that car at all. Yes, it took me a long time to get that car dialed in terms of revising the tune and lots of passes in it. But that car put so many race cars on trailers at big events, and a lot of you guys that got to see that car in person were always impressed with just how loud it was, how fast, how consistent. You guys saw me beat Donkmaster in that car. It's the only Hellcat that he's ever lost to in his black Blur car, and the list goes on with that car. And unfortunately, the content with my Hellcat started to kind of dry up. It wasn't the Hellcat's fault, it's just the way YouTube is. And I would film Hellcat content, I would spend all day doing it, I would edit it, it would take me a week to get it out, and then people just kind of stopped watching it. And I realized I've got this big car payment out there that it's really not worth all the effort in terms of just content. And it made more sense for me to sell that car and try something different. But when I sold it to somebody who really did not care that much about the car. Now, this is a car that I put a lot of time and effort into. It was so dialed in and so good. And it was one of those cars you just get in it and you drive it and enjoy it. And the guy that ended up buying the car basically ended up just ripping the car apart because he didn't want like his ex-wife to get it or something like that. A really sad situation because that tune was so good and it took so much time to get it where it was and get, the pulley ratios right and get everything just so perfect with that car. So many mods on that car just to make it everything that it was. And like I said, so many people copied that build because it was so good. And then to have him grab the OG car that so many people wanted to race, that so many people emulated, and just rip it apart for no good reason, just because he didn't want somebody else to get it, it still bothers me to this day because I feel like that car could have gone to somebody that would have appreciated it, that would have kind of known what it was, gone out, raced it, done all the great things that I wanted somebody to do with the car. And I guess I just would have felt better about it. I don't know how else to put it. It is what it is. I had no control over it, but it still bothers me. I sold that car to the wrong person. It is what it is. As for my fourth regret, it most definitely bothered me. I don't know why it bothered me so much, but I can freely admit that it did. I had like 3 cars for the channel all at the same time. I had the Hellcat, I had the Scat Pack, and I had a Mustang GT. Ultimately, I ended up working with Hellion to do a twin-turbo Mustang GT that was unbelievably fast. And honestly, it was the right move for the channel at the time. The Scat Pack was going away. I had some personal transition things happening in my life. It was time to get rid of the Hellcat because the Hellcat, it just wasn't bringing in the views anymore. I mean, the content was kind of watered down. It was time to move to something new. So I really did start to focus more on Mustang content. Like I said, I'm not upset about that decision. I still feel like it was the right thing to do at the time. But one night, for some odd reason, I had a hankering for some cookies. I went to Walmart, and on the way back from Walmart, it was like 11 o'clock at night. It was raining, and I was cruising along on 75 in Dallas. I hit a really nasty patch of like, I don't know, it was basically just mud going all the way across the road. And as soon as I went through it, I was all by myself out there in the rain. The car basically just kind of came around on me and went straight into a wall. And it was really, really a sucky situation. Very scary going into a wall at 70 miles an hour. You're just cruising along and you feel the rear end of the car come around. And, I actually filmed a little bit of when that happened. So let me show you that real quick. Okay, guys, listen. I went for a drive in the Mustang a little bit later at night. You can see the streets are all wet. I hit an oily patch in the left-hand lane, not speeding, all by myself, single accident. And my Mustang, as you can see, guys, is totaled. My car is totaled. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hurt or not. I'm bleeding, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. As you can see, I'm shaking. This just happened. Literally just happened. My Mustang is completely trashed. Look at it. I cannot believe this. Look at all the debris and stuff in the junk in the road. The police officer was nice enough to take me back where I believe my car lost control. And as you can see, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. Look at all the stuff. This is from the rain and all the stuff that we've had recently. It's going across the road, making it really slick. And that, I believe that was probably the culprit. So there you can see just how shaken up I was right after that happened, waiting on the police to come, and just took out my phone, and I wanted to be open and honest. I knew there were going to be a lot of questions. Oh, what happened to your new Mustang? We were all excited about the build. I showed everybody what happened. I told everybody what happened. I had the dash cam footage, which I never released, but the police did see that. Also, my insurance company saw that. The car was completely covered under my insurance. I ended up getting the red car, as many of you guys know, so I went ahead and did that build again. But it was completely out of my control. However, it opened up like this whole big like can of worms, and all these trolls came out of nowhere, but like idiots racing in the rain. Guys, I've been racing for 25 years. I'm not out to go race in the rain. It's the stupidest thing you could do. I didn't even do anything. I was literally just cruising right along, but it didn't matter what I said. Everybody was like, no, he's a liar. He doesn't know how to drive. Like, it just, all of the trolls came out of everywhere. And for whatever reason, it really, really got under my skin. It was like, oh, he yeeted it into a wall. He doesn't know how to drive. And to this day, it still pisses me off. All of the nasty, ugly comments that I got from people. So bad to where I wanted to like wring some people's necks. And, you know, I know you shouldn't do that. I know it's the internet and people are completely insensitive and they can be complete a-holes. I don't know what else to say about it. But in hindsight, I just should never have put out that footage and never have allowed people to see that. And I should have just said, no, you know, there was an incident that happened, not going into any detail. And, you know, sometimes that's how I have to be, I feel like. I feel like if I'm too open and honest, people try and make everything my fault. And it's same with this car, right? It's like, oh, well, you know, if the engine blew up, it had to be your fault. Okay, that's just how it is. Like everything is your fault, and it should be your fault. And anyway, guys, so the trolls got under my skin to no degree with that. I should not have put any content out there about when the car actually crashed. Live and learn. So anytime something else big happens, I can't always put it all out there for you guys because I just don't want to hear it. And as for my last regret, some of you guys that know me personally already know this one. A while back on my channel, as my daily, before I got the Mustangs, I actually had a Subaru WRX STI, which I really enjoyed. And I bought that car for two reasons. One is because it was all-wheel drive, worked great in the rain. It was a fun car to drive. I didn't have to spend a crazy amount of money on it, although it wasn't cheap. But also, it was a daily that I could get content with. And I feel like that was the best of both worlds, right? I mean, right now I've got a little Kia Forte. I don't film content with it, as you can imagine, because you guys wouldn't watch it. But the STI was something that I tried because it was different. Certainly a whole different segment of people I was going after. You're looking at more of the import group versus the domestic kind of muscle car or sports car group. And it really just kind of backfired in my face. I did some videos where I tested like 0 to 60 versus my 1,000 horsepower Hellcat. Keep in mind, this thing is all-wheel drive. It was a very fun car to drive, very darty, handled great. I have no qualms whatsoever about a Subaru WRX STI. I think they're great little cars. I loved it. But I swear, when I drove that car around, it brought out, once again, all of the little trolls. Every 17-year-old in the world got on there and tried to tell me how to drive. Keep in mind, like I said, I've been racing for 25 years, been NHRA certified since 2009, had a lot of driving experience on both road courses and at drag strips, like all sorts of experience, but yet tons of 17-year-olds wanted to teach me how to drive. I had a kid offer to come give me a personal lesson on how to drive an STI because I just don't understand how to do it, right?
Learn how to drive, bruh.
I granny shift. I'm not willing to dump the clutch at 6,000 RPM. Well, no. I mean, it's really easy to say that on the internet. No, you have to dump it at 6,000 RPM and completely rip the clutch apart in order to get the car to launch. I'm not willing to do that. And I just heard everything in the world about like, oh, well, you just don't know how to drive it. It's such an amazing car and all this kind of stuff. Guys, I know how to drive. And eventually it got to the point where it was like I was tired of children trying to tell me that they knew how to drive better than I did. It attracted a whole group of people that I just didn't really cater to, and it wasn't a good fit. Let's just put it that way. The STI crew, that group, no, thank you very much. Like, I'm not trying to compete with every, like I said, 18-year-old kid who just learned how to drive that can now come give me lessons on how to drive a car. So anyway, guys, I love the STI as a car. The whole STI group out there, I think we'll just leave that to someone else. So anyway, just a thought on the Subaru WRX. Not really my finest decision there. So there you go. Those are my 5 biggest regrets on my channel so far. Like I said, nothing's perfect. Hindsight's always 20/20. I do get a lot of questions. Do you regret modding the Hellcat? Absolutely not. That car was amazing modded. Do I regret going to the Mustang platform? No, it was the right thing to do for the channel. Do I regret buying this monster Demon 170? The jury's still out on that, but I love the car itself. Like I said, I'm kind of upset that I'm having a few issues with it, but who knows? We may be able to get those bugs worked out of this car. It is a very, very fast car when it's going, you know, full tilt the way that it's supposed to. So I still really enjoy the car. We just got to get it to where it's consistent like my Hellcat was, and we'll be just fine. So anyway, guys, just wanted to be open and honest with you. This was a fun video today, kind of walk back down memory lane and be open and honest with you guys about some of the reasons that I have these regrets. And anyway, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, RacerX.